You know what, Sam?
What?
You didn't trade me for a freezer full of cheerwine.
No, I did not. For the record, for those of you who don't know, someone left a comment on one of our YouTube videos saying the rumor has it Wallace traded Sam Driscoll for a refrigerant of cheerwine. I did not. He has returned. Haven't you, Sam?
I have returned from enemy territory, from Sunrise, victorious over the Florida Panthers. It's a heck of an experience.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, you couldn't transfer that look back here to Lenovo because we could have used it against Minnesota. So, as we're recording this, we're recording this episode mostly before the game against Pittsburgh, and obviously, when we were at Pittsburgh, we will have seen the game fully already. So, yeah. And for those of you who don't know, I am drinking cheerwine, so the rumor is false. In fact, for those
Say,
watching on YouTube, you'll see it, but I got the season ticket package and got the one of the options I believe was a collection of hurricane glasses.
yep.
So it's pretty cool.
And I'm using my season ticket member thing from last year.
Yep.
And
So
how Sam and I have always
pretty
done is
cool.
we rotated our season ticket member gifts. So this year he got that wonderful package of cups. Last year I
did.
got my one cup, and next year we're both on our own plans. So maybe you'll see two different items.
Yeah, maybe. So as usual, we have a link for donations for those who feel like they want to donate to help our podcast. The link for that donation is going to be both on our YouTube descriptions and our traditional podcast side of things. And another thing too, if you're watching us on YouTube, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to our podcast so you never miss another episode. So yeah. And now we're gonna get to some NHL stuff. Sam, something did come out recently, very recent.
Yep.
When it comes to NHL stuff, as the Anaheim Ducks made some news, they extended Frank Vatrano. It's worth $18 million, but the AAV is $4.57 million because $9 million of it is deferred salary to kind of help reduce the taxes of living in California
California.
for
Yeah.
Frank Vatrano, which I understand. So, Sam, this was a player that possibly might be rumored to have been traded from Anaheim, but Anaheim kind of sealed those rumors up by extending him, Sam.
Yeah, that was interesting. I honestly thought he was going to get moved at the deadline, and he was a guy I thought Carolina would be interested in as well. As a solid player, would make a lot of sense to come play here. But I guess he really likes it in Anaheim, and he's going to be part of that rebuild process, which they're moving in the right direction in Anaheim. I think Vetrano helps them. He doesn't hurt them.
No, he does not. And in fact, they've been doing pretty decent recently. We're going to be facing them soon here on Sunday, which is the Eric Stahl retirement game. We'll be versing Anaheim. So hopefully we have a better game against Anaheim on Eric Stahl retirement day compared to the loss against LA, which was on Justin Williams' night.
Yeah. We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see. So 1 week away. I am very, very excited.
I am too.
It's going to be very, very fun. So that's pretty much it for just the NHL stuff. I did see there were a couple of fines. I saw Dougie Hamilton got a fine for
I saw that too.
diving.
That made me laugh. I never really thought of him as a diver, though.
No, I haven't.
Maybe I'm missing something, but which if you get fined though, that means it's not your first offense.
Exactly. But I did see. I mean, it was a bad dive, Sam. Like everybody knew it was a dive. I don't know if you saw the video.
No, I haven't. You'll have to show me.
Yeah, I'll definitely show you. And I believe there's another fine too. I think the victim was O'Connor, but oh man, I'm blanking the name. But it was a hit to the head on O'Connor. So
oh wow, okay.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm forgetting the
It
name for
was
some
Florida. It
reason.
was Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett. That's right. Yep.
It was against
Thank you.
because it was against the Penguins. It was it was the Florida Panthers. Their game the day after we beat them.
Yeah. So Sam Bennett got fined as well, but other than that, it's mainly been all injury news. And Sam, we probably have a 2-hour episode if we went through all the injuries throughout the league. And we
Well,
need to do that.
it's that time. It's that time of year where we're getting close to halfway through the season. If not, I think we are at the halfway point. Um,
Yeah,
right?
we're in the season of halfway. We're not exactly there. We have a few more games to play, but we're in that season of midway point.
Yeah. So this is when people get hurt. I mean, Carolina's got some injuries and players who have been out. So
Yeah, well, that's a good segue into talking about the Hurricanes now,
yeah,
because I mean we have some good news in
yeah,
the fact that Jack Drury came back from injury, so that's a positive.
yes,
And 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 the reason why I mean, part of the reason why he came back was that we sent Yaska down,
correct.
but apparently we sent him back up.
Yeah. So that means there must be an injury coming up or a game. It means there's an injury or a game time decision, but that'll be announced later today.
Yeah, so I mean, I hope all the other players are okay. I
We'll
think
talk about that. We'll talk about whatever happens because we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh game after we go to the game today. So we'll know more about that injury. So that will be something we talk more about at the end. If there is an injury, it might just be a guy to carry. So we'll find out at the end of the Penguins game.
yes, we will. And another
But
thing
I'll
too.
just mention too about Haska because I got to see him do his rookie lap because it
Oh
was in
yeah, you
Florida.
did.
Because it was in Florida, so he came out first before anybody else did, and I got to see him skate around the ice. So that was actually really cool.
That is really cool. But honestly, I mean, Sam, I thought Yaska had a good first game. To be honest,
Yeah,
even
I
though we might have preferred other players to be called up, I thought he
yep,
had a good first game.
I agree. I thought he played really, really well. Um,
He had a couple hits, I thought, in that Florida
he had
game.
a couple I actually thought he woke up a little bit and started to really play well after he got lit up because he got lit
He
up.
did. I believe
And
it was in the first period too, wasn't it?
it was, and then after that, I thought he made some pretty solid plays. He wasn't a liability on the ice. Hardworking guy. I still believe that the player to be brought up is Suzuki, but at the time Suzuki was hurt. But it just looks like Carolina has no appetite for Ryan Suzuki, which I think is just a massive mistake. Once again, on management and on the head coach, but Asuka, he's not going to cause any problems.
No, he's not. But there is an injury update, and this is on the blue line, and the fact that Gostisbehere officially got put on IR, which sucks because we're definitely missing Ghost Sam. And I think
Yeah,
we saw that in the Minnesota game.
yeah. Well, I mean, saw it in the Panthers game.
Yeah, true.
Ty Smith is not the answer there. I think maybe we need to give Stillman a shot or bring up Scott Morrow. But
Hugh got a hat trick last night, so
yeah,
it to me it's just one of those things where I think if you are a coach, and you'll probably agree with me on this, if you are a coach slash general manager, you need to do what it takes to get the best roster on the ice. And I just don't think they're doing that by bringing up Ty Smith and not bringing up a guy like at least Riley Stillman. At least.
just
If it
give
was
someone else a
me, if
chance.
it was up to my choice, if it was up to me, it'd be Scott Morrow. It really would.
Well, you put your best players on the ice, but if one guy's not working out, you give someone else a chance.
Yeah, and I mean, even Adam Gold doesn't. I mean, he's not impressed with Smith, so I just don't know what they see in him in order for them to keep playing him. So
I
it's
think they
just
like his shot.
frustrating.
I think they like his shot because I think he's got a good shot, kind of like Coglin for us, right? He could skate, he was slow, but he's kind of like a power play specialist, right? He's got a good shot, he can distribute the puck, but he can't skate. And the problem with Ty Smith is he can't skate. He's slow. He makes a lot of stupid decisions. I mean, good gracious, in the Panthers game, he flicked the stick out of the way, and that's a penalty. That's like a stupid. That was like really dumb, 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 dumb. And I looked over at Brandon from the morning take because he was at the game with me, and I said, "You don't play him the rest of the night."
Yeah, I don't know why he did that. Thank you for reminding me on that whole pushing the stick thing, but it's
Mm-hmm.
just he doesn't make this team better.
No.
And listen, I'm all for trying out guys. They've already given him more than a chance,
Yeah.
and he just hasn't. I mean, to me, the one good game was probably the Columbus game where he got a goal. But other than that, I mean, there are other options. You're not limited to just him.
Yeah, and they're not big because you said we got more. We got Stillman, and I'm sure we have some other defensemen who can play too. And not to mention, we will have Nikishin at some point this year.
It sounds like it might be April though.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I listen. I love to have Nikishin play this year, but again, Sam. I mean, we were talking a lot about the Hurricanes last night. We knew this was going to be a season that was going to be rough. So, am I surprised? No, but yes, at the same time of how the season has gone because Canes have been just very inconsistent. I mean, Sam, I mean, even though we're recording this before the Pittsburgh game, I wouldn't be surprised if we won and then lose again at Tampa Tuesday. Would you?
No, I don't know. I just don't have the. I mean, we're a 500 hockey club. The record's not 500, and we built up a nice lead, but I don't know if that was. I think that, and I'm starting to believe that was not the norm, and being a 500 hockey club is the norm because we keep saying, "Oh, we're going to break out of it. We're going to," and it's just like, "Well, we haven't. Well, we haven't." So, is this actually this team's? We are actually playing as good as we can play.
Yeah, but I think it's also frustrating the fact that I mean we expected this team to be rough, but I don't think we expected this team to be um playing rough to the point to where our star players are only getting like a goal every 13 games. I don't think we expected that. And that's
No.
what's frustrating.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we're looking at three. We're looking at 3 games today, right? Florida. Uh,
Well, two games. I already did the
you're right. You
Florida
talked
game.
about Florida. So we're looking at 2. We're looking at the Wild, and we're looking at Pittsburgh. I mean, in reality, Minnesota is a heck of a hockey team. They are the number 2 team, I believe, or the number 3 team in points percentage in the league. They've lost 3 games at home or on the road. They've lost 3 games on the road, and they're doing all of this without Kirill Kaprizov, Jared Spurgeon, and I think someone else is out too.
Broding. Was
Brody.
it Jonas Broding?
So this is a team that's ready to go. And they came in ready to go, ready to win. And we came in like, yeah, Western Conference team, we'll phone it in. That's what it looked like on the ice. It looked like they phoned it in.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew
Yeah.
this was going to be a tough game because it's Minnesota. They're a very, very good team. It's just I didn't like how we played
Yeah.
because it. Well, you know what? Let's go to our sponsors and then we'll talk about the Minnesota game, Sam.
Sounds
So,
good to me.
sounds good. It's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the hoops, football, and hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. In the season of giving, we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football and basketball, and pro hockey too, almost 24/7. And here's a gift for all new customers: bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Blue Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bball. One of the things I like about watching hockey is the physical play we get to see, which is why Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes it easy to see your favorite team, concerts, or shows. One of the upcoming games I am looking forward to is a Canes versus Capitals game in January. And yes, that is my co-host Sam, if you heard him. They have a few super deals that are under $100 in lower level seating. That's why one of my favorite features is the super deal. Remember, you can also get to view from your seat in the app before you apply. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. It is game time. And in fact, before we get to the Minnesota game, I just want to say the Monday episode of last week has reached, I believe, 110 views right now. I just want to thank you guys for watching our videos on YouTube. So it's really awesome, Sam, that we got that many views.
Yeah, maybe they'll have to block me out from now on.
Yeah,
Given that
yeah.
was a
So
solo episode.
cover Sam the huge Kenny at Driscoll like
Yeah.
this, like what I'm doing, and then just watch me.
Just watch you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Sam, we have to talk about a game that was very painful, and I had a bet in place for this game. So with my girlfriend, who I love dearly, and I
Ooh.
I will have to wear a Minnesota Wilds shirt on our next podcast. It's not in yet. I would have worn it today, but it's not in. But that was the deal. If we won, she was going to have to wear a Carolina Hurricanes shirt all day, but I have to wear it on the podcast. So I will be wearing a Wilds shirt on the next podcast that we have, Sam. So if you see me wearing a Wild shirt, I have not switched sides, but I did lose a bet because the Carolina Hurricanes fell to the Minnesota Wilds with a score, but to the Minnesota Wild by a score of 4-0 at home. Carolina was at home. I don't even know if the Hurricanes showed up, Sam. I thought Minnesota played well, by the way. I thought they played really well, but I think Carolina played bad.
Yes. And to me, that was the big thing because I think if you look at all the previous losses before this game, you can find some good in them. Like this, usually the stall line is usually pretty good in a loss, but like I mean, I remember messaging our group chat, Sam. Hurricanes were flatter than ice. I thought.
Yeah.
And it was just to me it was just so bad. I don't think there was and to me there was only one good, but kind of sort of faded away with Kachekov playing well with that third goal, but they just they didn't have any effort. And
No, I
from
mean,
what I have heard, even though I don't think this is an excuse, is that they had so much emotion in that Florida game to where it fell off. That's not an excuse. I'm
no.
sorry.
No, because if that's an excuse, you're never going to win a playoff series.
No, you're not. And I mean, the
You can't have
first goal,
emotion. You can't have emotions for a full game and then turn it off for game two, right? That's just not how
ex-
that's going to work.
exactly. So, but I mean, the first goal, it's Zuccarello scoring, and this was one of those instances where this was not on Kochekov. This was on the team in front of him, and it was the first line, Sam. I
It
remember,
was
I think it was
Yep.
Aho and Might have been Aho and Jarvis that was right in front of Zuccarello, and he just had a huge slapper. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, what are you guys doing standing there?
It was also a goal from a guy who always scores against us too. Dude is a cane killer. He was a cane killer when he played in New York. He's a cane killer playing in Minnesota. Dude always gets points against the Hurricanes. He's a very good hockey player. I think he's a little older, but he's always played well against the Hurricanes.
Yeah, he has. But I mean, regardless, it was one of those games where Hurricanes really had no effort. The only effort I saw, Sam, was probably in the third period. But that was to me from a game most of the game where if you ranked their performance from 1 to a 10, with 1 being crappy, 10 being amazing, it was mostly, I would say, probably a 3. And then they brought it up to a 4.5 in the third period.
Yep.
Because I thought they gave a little bit of effort, but still not much. They only had 3 grade A chances, apparently, according to Natural Stat Trick.
The best chance we had was the goal that didn't count. And by the way, that was the right call. I'm not complaining about that. He was offsides.
Yeah, he
By
was.
he was offside by a country mile. That's why the review took all of like 30 seconds. They knew it was offside really quick.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I love Blake, but I mean, and I know he's a rookie, but he's a fast guy, and he needs to get off the ice quicker. He just
Yeah,
does.
yeah, absolutely. It was look. I don't know if we win that game if that goal counts. I still think we lose. To be honest with you, because
I do. Yeah, I do too.
it took a lot to get that goal, and it wasn't even a good goal. Like it was a funky bounce, and that's all that was going to be Gustafson because he was playing. Dude was still playing really well. Like we had a couple good shots on him. I mean, there was a couple instances that probably should have gone in. I think Roslovic had a really good chance. So did Aho. I think Jarvis had a good chance, but it didn't. They didn't go, and that's because there just nothing was going to go past Gustafson. He was that good last night.
He was. But here's the thing. To be honest, I don't think Gustafson had a lot of. I mean, I just said it. Hurricanes only had 3 high danger chances. He didn't have to be spectacular.
No, he didn't have to be spectacular, but when he had to be on those three, he made the save. And that's something, and I also say that's something Carolina has not gotten this year. They haven't gotten the saves. I'm not putting this game on Kochetkov because you can't blame the goalie if you get shut out. You didn't score. Um, and the reality is we didn't score. And Gustafson was the better goalie still.
Our
Kochetkov,
penalty kill wasn't that good, to be
no.
honest.
And I will say this about Kochetkov. I'm wondering I think his confidence, I think he's indecisive. And I think the indecisiveness is starting to show a lot more. Like he played great in Florida, but he's inconsistent. And for him to go for that poke check was like, what are you doing? Because he went early for the poke check. Like normally he's good at doing good at timing it, and he didn't. It just looked like he just fell, and it was basically an empty net when he
Yeah,
scored.
it was Matt Boldy scored. He was probably one of my favorites on Minnesota. Great
I like
player.
Boldy. I like
Yeah,
Boldy, but I will have to say I like Foligno too. I think he's a good player. He's an alternate captain in Minnesota. Hardworking guy. Been there for a little while now. But Kaprizov's fun. It's kind of too bad we didn't get to see Kaprizov play because he's a fun guy to watch.
he is. But I mean, it was just frustrating. And the thing is, like, was I looking for a win this game? Probably not, because I knew Minnesota is a very good team. So it wasn't the loss that had me worried. It was how they lost. There was no fight. There was no effort. And Minnesota just had one step ahead of us because not only was there no effort, but I just thought we looked slow through most of the game.
Yeah, we looked slow. Minnesota had a lot of good chances. And honestly, Minnesota probably could have won that game by like 5, 6, 7 to nothing. Foligno got stopped on a pretty good chance. Kochetkov tripped him. I think Boldy had
Oh,
a shot.
I hated that trip on Kochetkov. That was not a trip.
I didn't like the trip either. Um, Not that he sold it, but I thought he played the puck. I mean, it wasn't a trip. I mean, okay, but I thought Kochetkov played the puck. But whatever, I don't think it mattered. We were never going to win that
No,
game. It was one of those things where it didn't matter. But I mean, it's not like we just laid an egg. And I will say this, and here's something to take away from this game: we didn't lay an egg against like Chicago, right, or like Columbus. We laid an egg against a top team in the National Hockey League. They're a Stanley Cup contending team. They're a team that's probably one of the favored to come out of the West. They have good goaltending. They have one of the greatest goal scorers in the league right now, in Kaprizov when he's healthy. We didn't lay an egg against a bad team.
No, and that does find me a little bit of it gives me a little bit of comfort with the Hurricanes because it is a good team. It just is. And
Yeah, I
I
mean,
felt I felt a lot better about the game waking up this morning than probably me going to bed last night because and I'm sure any Hurricanes fan probably would relate somewhat to this. I mean, if you're attending a Hurricanes game, your emotions are going to be a little bit heightened. So when the Hurricanes lose a game like that, you're going to be frustrated. You just are.
yeah, and I mean, I'll also say this: I think a playoff series against the Wild would be a fun series because I think if Carolina's playing their game and the Wild are playing their game, I think those are two fun teams to watch. Just like I would say the same if we played Dallas. I think that's a fun series too.
Yeah, well, what's interesting with the Wild, Sam, is their style of play to me a little bit reminded me of the Islanders' style of play because it's not a fast game; it's a slow game with the Islanders.
They, I like what Adam Gold said. The Wild are not there to entertain your fans. They
No, they're
come
not.
into your building to win a game and get out. That's it. They don't care how they win the game on the road. They come in, win the game, get out. That's how they play hockey. And it's working for them. That's why they've lost 3 games on the road all season. Just 3. That's insane.
Yeah, I know it is insane. So, I, I mean, looking back now, I don't think this is a game to totally freak out. But again, when you've been inconsistent for so long, I mean, I I, I would have felt a lot better, Sam, if we lost like 3-2 against Minnesota. I would have felt just fine with that. But getting shut out, I was just like, and with the compete level not there, I was just like, man, what the heck?
If you lose and you get goalied, right? That's fine. I don't think Carolina got goalied last night. I mean, I was talking to it with my girlfriend, and
It
she
was
was
an
like, "You
effort
guys,"
problem.
yeah, and even she was like, "You guys look flat." She even agreed. She's like, she said she's seen better from the Wild, but we looked flat and we looked bad. And I agree with her assessment. I agree. I think that's what we're saying. I think that's what a lot of people are saying. It wasn't that the Minnesota Wild played the best game of the season, it's that we played a really bad game and we looked really bad. I think Jordan Stahl basically said that. The head coach said that during one of the intermissions. Everyone has said, like, we did not play good.
No, we didn't. But I I can't overanalyze in a game like Minnesota just because they're that good. So uh we'll see how this Penguins game goes, Sam. But if we can win against Pittsburgh, then I mean, to me, do I think it's predictable? Probably, but I want to see how they win. I think that's the most important thing is
Yeah.
not do they win, it's how they win at this point. Because it's really a consistency. It's a bad consistency issue. But
Yeah.
what makes it important though is that you have had a good start
And I
to
like
the
what
season.
Elliot Friedman always says, right? If you're going to stink, stink on the road. And that's the problem. What happened last night? We stuck at home and everyone left, right?
Yeah.
That arena emptied real fast. Halfway through the third, everyone was leaving. And that's the problem. And even I think Jordan Stahl mentioned, he said he felt bad for the fans. And I like it when your captain, and after losses is when you want to hear from your captain. And that was an important one to hear from. And he's right. Like, they should feel bad for what they did to the fans. They laid an egg. They played really bad. The effort wasn't there. Even in losses, you can say, oh, the effort's there. There was no effort last night. I saw none. Maybe from Blake. I thought Blake was fine last night. Um,
I thought the best line was actually the jury, Blake, and mm, yeah, I mean, because it was Drury, Blake. I'm forgetting the other line. Robinson.
yeah,
That's
I thought
that's
they played
that's right.
okay. I thought KK actually played okay. But your stars didn't play okay. And I don't even know at this point if KK's the problem on that line because KK's getting points. It's Svetch and Natchez who aren't producing now. So I don't know if it's. I don't think it's KK. I think KK's been great. I think his line mates aren't playing very good and are dragging him down. And KK is not good enough to drag those two guys along with him. Those two guys need to carry that line. KK is a fine player, but he is not. He's not good enough to carry that line. That you can't expect him to carry that line.
No, you can't. And I will admit, I agree with you there. Svetch and Natchez need to play better. Natchez is back to his old habits of turning the puck over here, there, and right. Now, granted, everybody I thought last night were making horrible passes and turning the puck over, not just Natchez. And Svetch was one of them too. But Sam, to me, the good thing is with the timing of this is that you have another game against Pittsburgh starting at 6 p.m. So you don't really have a lot of time to sulk that bad Minnesota game.
Good. That's what you want. You have a bad game, you want to get back on the ice. And I'll
Yes,
tell you right
exactly.
now, you want to know who was in Raleigh last night? Pittsburgh. You want to know who saw what just happened? Pittsburgh. And you know what the Hurricanes are going to? I expect the Hurricanes to come out pissed and angry. And I
Oh,
want
they
to
better.
see angry Aho, angry Stahl. I want to see this team come out and just. I want the Hurricanes to win this game by 4 or 5 goals because that's what I am expecting after they played so bad. That's what I want now.
Yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, we're gonna recap the Pittsburgh game now. Wow, Sam, that Pittsburgh game, a lot better of a game. Now, was it perfect by all means? No. Uh,
Mm-mm.
it didn't start out that way. First period, even though I thought it was a little bit better than the Minnesota game, you can tell they were still sort of flat. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I agree completely. And you'll notice I did a wardrobe change between uh, the games because this jersey is undefeated during games. So one that I've attended wearing it. So I threw it on. But yeah, and it worked out again because Carolina was the better was. I don't know if they were the better team tonight, but they're the better. They are the better They're the better roster, and they proved that tonight because that's why they won the game.
Yes, definitely. And obviously, you have Kevin Hayes and Michael Bunting scoring. Tokarski was in net. So it was a little bit deflating heading into the second period because it was like, oh no, this is not looking good really for the Hurricanes. But then Sam second period dominate. They really did dominate the second period. I mean, you have Jarvis scoring from Aho. You have Chatfield scoring from Aho and Jarvis. And then Jarvis scoring from a nice pass from Svesh and Jordan Stahl. And Sam, another thing that we noticed in this game is that the lines were quite a bit different. You have Robinson, Robinson, KK, Natchez, Stahl, Svetch, and Martinuk. And Carrier was out. So that's why we brought up Yaska.
Yep, and Yaska played good too.
Yeah, I thought he played good too. He did commit a penalty, but
I thought it was a ticky tack call. But it's fine.
I did too. But I mean, other than that, the second period was dominant. And Sam, the biggest thing is that our top guys contributed. If you can
Yep.
get a couple of them, then you have a very good chance of winning. And that's what happened with Jarvis and Aho.
Yep.
Who are you more happy with, Aho or Jarvis?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Okay. And but I mean, really, just a dominant second period. Third period, I didn't think the Canes were as dominant in the third period as they were in the
Mm-mm.
second period. Sam, I thought uh, their confidence kind of wore down a little bit just because of the puck handling and the passing ability. But because that's one thing that I've noticed with the Canes, especially in that Minnesota game, they just weren't confident in their passes and puck management. But
Yep.
you have Eric Carlson scoring. Apparently, it was off of the stick of Jarvis and ends. So once I heard that, I was like, okay, maybe it wasn't that soft of a goal that just Tokarski played in. And Tokarski, I mean, how do you think he played, Sam?
I thought he was fine. I mean, maybe you like him to get one of those, but I thought he was fine. I think he did his job. I didn't really have too much of a complaint about him.
Yeah, I didn't have too much to complain about him either. I think he probably could have stopped the first goal. if I had to compare all the three. But regardless, I mean, that first goal you can also blame on the team right in front of him too. So, because they were kind of unaware of that blast from Kevin Hayes. But then Sam, it goes into overtime, and honestly, this is I believe the first overtime the Hurricanes have gone into at home this season. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, hey, we won, so that's all that mattered. I mean, it sucks that you gave Pittsburgh a point, but you got the extra.
Yes, true, and it's Aho scoring off of a rebound from a shot from Orlov, and Natchez gets an assist. So good on Natchez for getting an assist, but um, again, great that Jarvis Aho, your top guys, it's kind of your top four, getting those points.
Yep.
Still want to see Svech and Natchez contribute though, in
Yep.
terms of actual goal scoring. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes. Yeah. You need Svech to score. That's why you have him on this team.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, he's still struggling the puck, but hopefully, he can get back to that scoring form. And what a great way to get your 600th point
Yeah.
for Aho. So great for him. And we end the season series against Pittsburgh, sweeping them. Really, really great, impressive season against Pittsburgh this season. So
Yep. Yep.
yeah, that was a fun game. And our next episode will be Friday. So we will see you guys then.